Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, by the sun and its rising brightness, and by the moon as it follows it, and by the day as it reveals its glory, and by the night when it draws a veil over it, by the sky and how he built it, and by the earth and how he spread it, by the soul and how he formed it, then inspired it to understand what was right and wrong for it. He who purifies it will indeed be successful, and he who corrupts it is sure to fail. Hope you all have a nice day. This was a verse from the Holy Book of the Quran. It is used to start with the phrase Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which means in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. And as we will start now a lecture for the Oriental Stories, stories that are from Sufi females and male masters. It is used then to start by saying this phrase, and we thought it was better to read a small verse from the Quran. This one was specific chosen, this quote from the Quran, because we are going to say stories, didactical stories about the Gnosis, as we are a Gnostic group, and we like to know ourselves. We are trying to know ourselves, and for many years now, for many centuries, stories have been used in the Oriental and many other traditions, but mostly from the Orientals, have been used as didactical, as a means to transfer truths, to transfer meanings that are very inspiration, and are very vital for the esoteric work of each person, and of each person who wants to know himself. And as Gurdjieff said, in order to give the truth, in order to be able to provide to someone words for the truth, and the truth to be put into words, it is very important in order to be able to give the truth to the superior centers, the superior intellectual center, and the superior sentimental center. The sages used many ways. One of this way was for the superior sentimental center was through myths, through legends, through stories. We are accustomed with the stories of 1001 Nights. We are accustomed with traditional myths of each place, like Aesop's fables or ancient myths that had some meaning. And we know that there were many people who were saying stories in order to educate, to give superior truth, to help people better understand themselves, and in order to give the truth also to the superior intellect, the sages used symbols in order to be able for people to code them, decode them, and to find the truth and to find the meanings. The best thing of the myths, of the legends, is that each person, according to its consciousness, to the level of the consciousness that one has, can find a piece of truth a piece of universal truth, because there is what we think as truth, and there is one universal truth that is given through stories like the 1001 Nights, like the stories of Aladdin, with the lamp, with the genies, and all these stories that make people listen carefully, and the sentimental center to receive it directly in the subconscious of the person, and the person then can contemplate on the story, can contemplate on the meaning, can meditate upon it, and the best thing is that each person might find a part of it according, as we said, to the free consciousness that he has, and another person might find something different according to the level of the level of consciousness, to the level of the being each one has. So we will start with a verse from the 1001 Nights, which says something very interesting. The book of the 1001 Nights, as we all know as Arabian Nights, starts, of course, with the phrase we started, as the God that is the most merciful, the most gracious of all beings, because everything is dedicated to Him. Whatever you do, whatever we do, whatever action we form, whatever sentimental we feel, whatever thought we might have, is dedicated to our innermost, to the God, and nothing belongs to us. This is what all the stories are trying to show us, that everything belongs to God, everything returns to God, and when we do this, and when we decode the stories, when we are giving stories, we are storytellers or not, or reading a story to our children, then there's always a meaning, and esoteric stories, the stories that have been given by sages, by masters, all these tales are giving a message to the consciousness of a person. We are going to share some stories, we are going to read some stories from, as we said, from Sufi masters, male and female, because there were also female Sufi masters who were very common during Jalaluddin Rumi ages. But later on, the next generations decided to cut them off the Sufi orders, and you can find many proof from the internet and from very very good resources that are claiming, that have proof that the Sufi orders had also women who were female masters, and women who were dancing the Sufi dance. So we will start with a verse from the Arabian Nights. This is a lecture in order to share stories, not stories that are fables, not stories that are like Aladdin, like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, but we will share stories of the masters from their lives, because it's the best thing to see how masters responded to their everyday lives. How did they contemplate on the daily events with their students, and with many things that happen to them, and what is the difference between a master and a common person? Well, the difference relies on the fact that a master will interact with life in a different manner. A master, a true master of the White Lodge, has awakened the consciousness, is an awakened being, has contacted with his innermost, with the God inside of him, and he interacts with or she, if is a female master, interacts with people, interacts with all the circumstances that occur in our lives with consciousness and with an initiatic philosophy. It's a different thing, because they are not mechanic. And also the difference between a master and common other people is that he is learning from all the battles, the esoteric battles, the the things, the difficulties that occur from their lives. It's to their lives. It's an initiatic philosophy. It's a different point of view than what common people have. And we have to say now that we are the Gnostic Association Samael Lakshmi, and we follow the teachings of Master Samael Onveor, Master Lakshmi, Master Michael, Master Galeno, and female master Sophia, who have given us strength, courage, and a live uh, live meaning to the teachings through their immediate experience and through their examples from their lives. As we said, nothing belongs to us. The teachings do not belong to anyone. Gnosis does not belong to anyone, and this is what all the great masters have noticed, and this is why Gnosis is something that we can share with other people. Gnosis is something that we can give according to the level of of our consciousness, and it's something that all the great masters were able to give by to give Gnosis from their example, through how they reacted in the conditions of their lives. And this is the most important with the stories with the masters, because we can see the example of higher beings with a higher level of consciousness, and how they reacted in conditions that each one of us, it's a person who is trying to connect with his innermost, and each person would react differently. But we can see an initiatic philosophy, different kind um, of intellect, of sentimental, and of interaction with life. And this is why we decided to do this lecture, in order to be educated from the lives of masters, and to contemplate on the on on all these things that they have to educate us from their stories.